I answer the letters that children send to Santa Claus, but I started to receive some very strange letters. I checked my inbox this time last year and it said, "You have 63 unread emails." This was going to be a long night. Sure, I love Christmas as much as the average person, and I like earning a bit of extra money, but I still wasn't looking forward to it. It was my job to read each and every one of these emails and respond as if I were the real Santa Claus. I also had a small pile of handwritten letters that needed a reply as well. They were stacked up next to me, all neatly tied together with a piece of string. For some reason, I actually prefer receiving the handwritten letters other than the electronic version. It feels more personal, but it seems like most kids nowadays would rather send an email. In fact, I had only this small pile of 12 letters this year. All the others were strictly via email. I began to click through each email, quickly skimming what it was that each child wanted for Christmas, before replying that I would try my best to deliver that gift to them. I would always end the email by signing off as Santa Claus, before clicking send. Most kids would want the usual presents of bikes, games, or a puppy, but there were also a number of requests that were a bit more unique. One kid wanted a bottle of hand sanitizer, while another wanted a hammer. For the most part, though, it appeared that kids mainly wanted similar gifts. The night was getting late by the time I had answered the majority of the emails. My hand and wrist were beginning to tire, but the thought of earning $3 for each reply was what managed to keep me working. My eyes wanted to close, and so I decided to leave the small stack of letters until tomorrow. I still had a dozen or so emails to complete, but it was time to call it a night. The unmistakable sound of another new email rang out across my small apartment. I knew that I wasn't going to respond, but I wanted to skim read what it said before making acquaintance with my bed. "Holly, good work on responding to all those emails tonight. I know it's mentally draining and I know you are working hard at it, but I just want to make sure you are also replying to the handwritten letters that I sent over to you this morning. Those kids need a response too. Thanks, Michael." I've never met Michael, but when it came to getting my job done, he was in constant contact with me. Michael was a decent boss, but sometimes could be a bit pushy and a tad demanding. I was going to respond to the letters as well, but both Michael and the kids would have to wait until tomorrow to hear back from the fake Santa. I was just about to finish closing the lid on my laptop when I heard another unmistakable ding sound. Another email had come through. I thought most kids would be in bed at this late hour and not sending a Christmas wish list via email. Curious, I flicked my laptop back open and read the new email. The subject consisted of only 6 words. It read, "On the first day of Christmas." Unsure of what this meant, I opened the email and read what was written. It didn't take long to read the words because it was only 2 sentences long. The caroler sent to me. A partridge hanged in a pear tree. I reread the email a couple of times, making sure that I had correctly comprehended the message. I knew what was written, but I didn't entirely know what it meant. I sat there, staring at the computer screen, confused as to what this email was about. I didn't have long to be confused though, because another ding filled the silence in the room. I looked at my inbox and saw that another email had just been sent through. This time there was no subject, but the actual contents of the email was once again only a few sentences long. "The first Noel, the angels did sleigh. The caroler." This email also made mention of a caroler, and I was unsure as to who exactly that was. Maybe just someone playing some sort of prank, but I had seen enough horror movies to not completely dismiss this as such. More often than not, things like this turn out not to be a practical joke, and so I was wary as to what was really going on here. I thought it was best to not respond to these emails, but I knew that I shouldn't just delete them and forget about them either. This time, when I checked the email, it only contained a single sentence, another line from a famous Christmas song. Silent night, holy night. Shepherds quake at my sight. The caroler. The caroler signed his name at the bottom of the email again, making sure I knew it was from them, whoever they were. I was starting to feel a strange sense of dread, like my body knew that something was clearly wrong, but my brain was still trying to decipher what exactly. I was definitely concerned by the caroler's use of the word slay. There were 2 dings this time, both of them making me jump slightly in my seat. My eyes darted back to the top of my inbox list, and I saw 2 new emails had just arrived. The first one read, "Bells on Bob's tail ring, making his spirit rise. The caroler." The second email, also from the caroler, contained another quote from another joyful Christmas carol. Joy to the world, for I have come. The caroler. Now, I was worried. Whoever this was, wasn't mistakenly sending me these emails. This was intentional. They wouldn't accidentally send me 5 emails, all containing strange versions of carols. Each email seemed to allude to something dark or sinister, which is something that I couldn't ignore. Rudy the Dead-Nosed Reindeer had a very tiny nose. The caroler. This email was the first to truly disturb me. I'm not sure entirely why, but I think it was because it seemed as if Rudolph was purposely changed to another name. This probably meant something, but what that was still unknown. Obviously, the caroler was trying to scare me, and he definitely knew how to. What scared me most though was, what if these emails were clues to something? Hark! The herald angels sing. Glory to the firstborn king. The caroler. I read this email twice before I noticed that it read firstborn instead of newborn, as is heard in the song. I wasn't quite sure what the significance of this change was, but I was certain that it had to mean something. Oh, come all ye faithful, dreadful and triumphant. Oh, come ye. Oh, come ye to Beth. The caroler. Another changed lyric to suit a name. I was absolutely sure that this was on purpose now. This had to mean something. This had to be a clue to something bigger. It just wasn't possible to make this many spelling mistakes without them being deliberate and calculated. I looked around my empty apartment. It was dark, apart from the light of my laptop screen providing a faint glow of light. The darkness no longer felt comfortable, and I needed a proper light source to help calm myself down. I needed to be able to see everything that was inside the apartment. Just in case. I stood up out of my seat and only took 1 step towards the light switch when I heard another. Ding. I didn't want to look at it, not until the light was on. I continued to walk towards the light switch while constantly looking through the darkness, hoping not to see anything within it. I reached the switch, flicked it on, and quickly glanced around the room. It was empty, only the wardrobe, my desk, and my bed were present. I quickly walked back over to the laptop, but as I did, 2 more distinct dings rang out across the room. When I reached the laptop again, I had 3 unread emails that had just been sent through. I knew exactly who they were from before I looked at them. The first email read, "He sees you when he's sleeping, he knows when he's awake." The caroler. I paused to take in what I had just read before moving on to the second email. Bad tidings I bring to you and your Finn. The Caroler. The final email, which was the longest so far, read, "And carol out in the snow. There'll be scary ghost stories and tales of the gory Christmases long, long ago." The Caroler. 3 more emails. 3 more names mentioned. I waited, watching the laptop screen. Waiting for another ding. Waiting for another email to pop up, but it seemed like the emails had stopped. I waited for a few minutes, expecting to receive another one, but it never arrived. As I sat in my now well-lit apartment, I felt a chill run down my spine. I wasn't really that sure of what I had just experienced, or what any of it meant. I just knew that it wasn't something I wanted to be involved with. It was silent, and I was listening out for any small noise that I could, just in case I heard anyone nearby. I could hear a car or two outside of my window, but other than that, it was a silent night. I had never heard of anyone called the Carol before, and I was afraid as to who or what they could be. Why were they contacting me? And why all the cryptic emails? I suddenly had a thought. The letters. The handwritten letters for Santa that I hadn't had a chance to look at yet. For some reason, they popped into my mind, and once the thought of them occurred, I couldn't shake the feeling that they may be involved somehow. I looked to the side and towards the bundle of envelopes that were beside me. I reached out and grabbed the top letter on the stack. I tore it open and pulled out the single sheet of paper that was inside. The piece of paper was only small, and it only had a few sentences written on it, in small, incredibly neat handwriting. "Dear Santa, for Christmas, I want to be a partridge in a pear tree. From Georgia Partridge." I instantly knew then that this was all connected somehow, and I frantically grabbed the second letter. I tore the envelope that contained the second letter. I pulled the piece of paper out of the envelope and quickly unfolded it. Again, there was a small note written in the same neat handwriting as the previous letter. "Dear Santa, all I want is to be found in the fields as I lay." From Noel Dover. I read.